Today's video is sponsored by Home Title Lock. Ever want to know how to actually read minds, or how to trick someone into seeing something that isn't even there? Well, I'm Mike with List25, and I'm about to show you 25 insane mind tricks that anyone can do. Did you know that your brain cancels out things so you can't see them? A great example of this is when you stare at a grid formation and experience the Elusive Black Dot illusion. Despite there being a number of black dots on the grid, they will appear and disappear, blinking on and off. Why does this freaky trick of the mind happen? Well, it's because your brain can't cope with looking at them all at once. When you focus on one, your peripheral vision isn't strong enough to process the surrounding information. All it sees is the white of the grid, so the dots disappear. You simply won't be able to see all the dots at the same time, so don't even try, because that is a one-way ticket to eye strain. Now, you can't rely on your eyes, so it seems, but surely your arms won't let you down, right? Or left? You can make your arms move on their own involuntarily. How do you do this? The so-called floating arm trick involves a door frame and a little bit of a workout. You'll need to put the backs of your hands on either side of the frame, then start pushing on the frame for 30 seconds. Okay, so where's the illusion? When you relax your arms, they'll proceed to lift into the air like you're some kind of meat puppet. This happens because of something called a neuromuscular reaction. Your neuromuscular system is basically how your nerves and muscles are joined up, a direct line between your brain and your muscles, you could say. Your muscles keep going for a short time following the door push. But don't worry, it doesn't last forever. Remember to take it easy if you want to try this one for yourself. You don't want to pull a muscle over some crazy illusion. Although it's kind of funny that I mentioned puppets earlier because our next trick is literally named after one. Blindfolding someone can create surprisingly powerful illusions. Some, like the Pinocchio Illusion, lead people to believe their body is changing shape. Specifically, that their nose is growing longer, just like it did with the famous character. If your vision is blocked out and you touch your nose, you become very susceptible to vibrations. Experts have found that by tapping the bicep of a blindfolded person in this position, the body processes this feeling by elongating your nose, which isn't actually happening, it just feels like it is. No strings attached for this next story, just good old-fashioned mind games. It is one of the oldest tricks in the book. From street magicians to TV magic specials, we've all seen the witch hand illusion. The illusionist asks someone to conceal a coin or similar object in their left or right hand before guessing which hand they're holding it in, using what appears to be uncanny psychic ability. Uncanny ability, yeah right. This is a cool trick for sure, however, it's more focused on cold hand reality than amazing superpowers. You can subtly influence someone to use a particular hand, you can read their body language to catch them out, and you can even use a device that reveals the hand they've got a metal object in. There are various methods of getting that wow factor, making this a popular and accessible mind trick to try at home. Now from left and right to A to Z. Brain training is a well-known term, helping people to improve their memory and general awareness in the old noggin. The alphabet memory test, or alphabet technique, is a system of remembering important information using a combination of the alphabet and visual cues. It works by connecting letters of the alphabet to specific images, so you might think the letter B and picture an actual B. Or you might link the image and letter by how they sound. For example, the letter N could be represented by a door or an entrance. Get it? So, what can you remember using this system? Well, names are good. Take Ryan Gosling. You can have a sequence of pictures like a rye bread, followed by an entrance, followed by someone going somewhere, and finally an arm in a sling. You see? Alternatively, you could look at a photo of Ryan Gosling, but where would be the fun in that? Now I've talked about keeping your brain healthy, but how about your gut? Veggies aren't just great for your gut health. They can be used for mind tricks too. A cool game is to ask someone to name a vegetable. So go ahead, pick a vegetable. What's so cool about that? Well, because you can predict what they're going to answer. Does it work through some freaky veggie-based telepathy? Of course it doesn't. What this trick does rely on, however, is the tendency of people to think of a carrot when asked about vegetables in general. It's just one of those strange life facts that the majority of people associate the idea of a vegetable with the humble carrot. They probably watched too many Bugs Bunny cartoons as a kid or something. It might look like you're an illusionist, but really you just know a handy fact about carrots. Which brings me back to coins, and another cool way of blowing people's minds. Your friends are bound to be impressed, because with this trick, it looks like you're pushing a coin through a glass without the glass breaking or anything. How it works is you place a coin in your palm and bump the bottom of the glass up and down on your palm. After a while, it'll magically appear in the glass like it went straight through. What the heck is going on here? Well, actually, it's pretty simple. The hand you hold the glass with is hiding a lot of the trickery, but first I need to talk about what your other hand is doing. By briefly turning your coin hand upside down, taking care to keep hold of the coin, you can work the coin to the tips of your fingers. Then, when you flip your hand up the other way and start with the glass, the movement should bounce the coin so it flies up and lands in the glass. People won't notice that, though, due to the way your other hand is right over the brim of the glass. If you think that's mind-blowing, wait till you see what's coming up next. The trick that I'm about to talk about exploits the way we hear things. You may think we perceive sound using only our ears, but no, we actually also use our eyes. So how does that work? Well, that's where the McGurk effect comes in, named after Harry McGurk, the psychologist who helped discover it. It shows how contrasting visuals and audio can give people the wrong idea about what they're hearing. A classic example is a video of someone saying "ba," kind of like a sheep. If you keep the audio "ba" and swap the visual for someone saying "ga," the effect is incredible. Here, check it out. Ba, 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 ba. Your ears can be messed with, and so can your eyes. Most people recognize the color red unless they're colorblind. However, would you recognize the color red if it were blue? I'm sorry, what? I'm talking about the Stroop Test, where people are asked to name the color of the ink. Let's say the word red is printed in blue ink, and you had to say what the color of the ink was real fast. Would you say red or blue? A lot of people would get confused and say red, even though the word is written in blue. This mind trick is a little more mind-bending than most. Also, in case you're wondering, there was an actual person called Stroop who the test was named after. Stick a fork in this next trick, because it's done. Did you know scammers can literally steal your home right out from under you? The FBI calls it house stealing, and it's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee, and file it with your local recorder's office. And just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they can take out loans using your equity as collateral or even sell the property behind your back. And you won't even know it's happening until you start getting collection or foreclosure notices. So let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your home title? Well, if you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and equity safe. Here's what you get. Immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property. Urgent alerts if there are any changes. And if fraud should happen, their US-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim, and access to your personal title expert, a $250 value just for signing up. Go to HometitleLock.com and use my promo code LIST25, or click on the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code LIST25 to get the protection and peace of mind you deserve. And now back to the video. Look at this drawing and tell me what you see. It looks like the end of a fork, doesn't it? Well, people call this drawing the impossible trident. Why is it impossible? Well, you may have noticed that it's making your eyes feel a little funny, especially if you concentrate on the middle prong. Those three long shapes don't seem to add up, do they? The design appears to go against the rules of perspective, hence why it's called impossible. It's kind of two-dimensional, but your brain keeps trying to see it in 3D. Another name for this illusion is the Devil's Tuning Fork, which makes sense because the drawing has a pretty warped effect on your mind. Sticking with the cutlery theme, I'm going to go from forks to spoons. Spoon bending is a classic illusion where a spoon is held at the neck and rotated between the person's fingers until it changes shape. Some practitioners claim that it's a real thing and that the spoon is being bent by the power of the mind. In actuality, the spoon has either been physically bent without people noticing it, or it looks as if it's bending when it's not. The spoon can also be pre-bent, by which I mean it's been manipulated beforehand so it becomes more flexible for the demonstration. Well, that's the big scoop when it comes to bending spoons. Time to hit the decks! As in a deck of cards. The question, is this your card, has been associated with magicians and magic tricks for years, but how do these people know what card you've selected from the pack in the first place? As usual, things are not what they seem. A magician can put a mark on the card so they know which one you're holding, though that's only part of the puzzle. There's a whole deck of cards, and we need to pick that exact card for the trick to succeed. Well, the magician can subtly direct you to select a particular card. They can even use math to calculate what card you'll go for. They have a whole bunch of tricks up their sleeves, which makes sense because they're magicians. Once you know the basics, you too can fool your friends. You'll struggle to see the trick with mind reading, and this next one is worse because it seems to make things invisible. Tricksters can claim that they made an object disappear or become invisible. Of course, they don't have actual magic powers, or at least I hope they don't, because they're definitely going to be coming after me after revealing all their secrets. Anyway, my paranoia aside, how do magic acts manage to make objects vanish into thin air? One way is by the skillful use of mirrors, which convinces people that they're looking in an empty space when in fact there's something there, but the light is simply being redirected by the glass. See, your eyes can see things in an incredible amount of detail, however, they also tend to accept what is right in front of them. Magicians take advantage of that to bend the light and present a false picture of their activities. Holy smokes, this next trick is a deeply religious experience. Jesus can give you eye strain? Well, it's possible with this trick. This isn't a deliberate thing that Jesus is doing, because surely he'd rather you have healthy eyesight. What the Visions of Jesus illusion does is create an afterimage that hangs around in your eye like a ghost. The trick works by getting an image of Jesus' face, and the image should be either a negative or something with a high contrast. Then you kind of just stare at it the way you would do with those old 3D pictures, although be careful not to strain yourself. After you've done this, you'll see the afterimage, but how is that created? This is down to what's called photochemical activity taking place in your retina, which works together with your brain to see a face that literally isn't there anymore. This next trick is not for those suffering from vertigo, or those who get dizzy easily. What I'm going to do for this next trick is show you a freaky swirly graphic that should play a serious trick on your mind. Look into the center of it for approximately a minute and a half, before getting onto your knees. Do this slowly, because after all, this graphic is pretty intense and you don't want to fall over or anything like that. Once you're on your knees, you'll begin to feel a really weird and unsettling sensation, like you're kneeling on quicksand and sinking into the floor. Don't worry, this will pass. Although be warned, if you feel like you're actually sinking in the floor, then check out your floorboards because you might have woodworm. Now that that explanation is done with, I can move on to the next task. Finishing a task is often satisfying, but how well do you remember it afterwards? Surprisingly, we recall incomplete tasks better than the ones we completed. This is known as the Zeigarnik Effect, discovered by psychologist Zeigarnik. Now, I'm willing to bet you have a bunch of tasks that you haven't finished. In fact, I bet that you're watching this video instead of doing those tasks. But don't click off, just stay here and learn a little bit more about the Zeigarnik Effect. It happens due to these non-completed tasks essentially bothering our brains more than the ones we did already. In this situation, you experience cognitive dissonance where the urge to finish the task conflicts with you sitting there not doing the task you're supposed to be doing. Ever heard the expression, the numbers don't lie? Well, with this mind trick, which is called the 1089 trick, you might think those so-called trustworthy numbers are fooling you big time. This is basically a calculation involving a weird combination of numbers that will always come out to 1089. It works by selecting a 3-digit number, but the thing about that is the numbers, the digits have to be going down from each other, so we're going to take 764. You then need to subtract the reverse version of that number, which for us would be 467. The outcome of that would be 297. You then add 792, in other words, the reverse of 297, and guess what the result is? That's right, it's 1089. So it turns out the numbers aren't lying to you after all. They're just bending your mind. Now, I'm not done with numbers and mind trickery yet. Did you know that 9 is a highly significant number when it comes to mind trickery? If you take a number, any number, it'll give you the number 9 if you multiply it by 9. What do I mean by this? Well, let's take 200. Multiply that by 9 and you get 1800. That's right. You may have already spotted this, but you can get the number 9 back from that 1800. Look at the numbers closely. 1 plus 8 plus 0 equals 9. You'll either see this as a way of calculating 9 or a multiple of 9 in whatever answer you get from your calculator. The trick I've got coming up is the ultimate in misdirection. Take a look at these lines and arrows. We can see the direction they're pointing in. I mean, you've got a left and right thing at the top, a left and left at the bottom, and 2 arrows facing inward in the middle. That's all pretty clear. And of course, the lines are all different lengths. Or are they? Well, I'm sorry to tell you that this is a powerful optical illusion called the Müller-Lyer Illusion. Our brains are focusing on the arrows more than the lines, which are in fact the same length. This trick was observed by sociologist Franz Karl Müller-Lyer back in the late 19th century. It demonstrates that the way we perceive space and depth can be influenced by the smallest details. The following illusion is far more than just black and white. Black is darker than white. That is one of the most obvious facts in history. In which case, you might want to check out, so to speak, the checker shadow illusion, which fools you with colors of white and gray. It uses the image of a chessboard or checkerboard to show how shadows can play tricks in your mind. An object like a cylinder is placed onto the board, which in turn creates a shadow. The shadow falls across one of the white squares while the gray square stays in the light. Which square do you think is darker? The gray square? Well, it might look that way. However, it's the white square in shadow that's the darker one. All it takes is a different lighting arrangement, and we perceive simple things in an entirely different way. Let's face facts for a face-shaped fact. People's faces curve outwards, or in other words, they have a convex shape. This mask we're looking at right now looks like it's convex. I mean, it would have to be convex so it could fit over someone's face, right? Actually, it isn't convex at all. It's concave. The mask curves inward, even though it appears to be the opposite. Why does this hollow mask trick work so well? It's because we think we know what we're seeing, and we assume the mask is convex based on what our brain decides. This is a possible reason why some people see the mask as convex despite being told it's not. Who'd have thunk it? Or, in the case of our next trick, who'd have trunk it? How easy do you find it to concentrate? What if I told you, do not imagine a pink elephant? Well, the first thing you're going to do is imagine one. There's actually a name for this situation, which is the pink elephant paradox, or ironic process theory. Ironically, you think of the very thing you're supposed to be ignoring. It's a weird mind trick for sure, but also a helpful one, because the pink elephant paradox demonstrates the power of intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts can be disturbing, so identifying and seeking help for them is beneficial for your mental health. It isn't just about animals in bizarre colors. Intrusive thoughts can represent problems we're having in our daily lives, so we should address them. Now, I'm feeling a little emotional after that trick, and there's a reason for that. Manipulating someone's emotions can be a bad thing to do. However, it's also a good thing if you do it responsibly and with a person's well-being in mind. Emotional priming is used as a trick, though one that has a potentially positive psychological impact. Priming means preparing someone in advance, with stimuli designed to help them respond emotionally. People struggling with their emotions can take part in exercises where images, sounds, and sensations can produce certain reactions, leading to changes in the way that person approaches their lives. It's a problem-solving thing, though it isn't for everyone. Don't get me wrong, anyone can use emotional priming, but I should stress that this trick is one you should do with a qualified expert to help you. Did you know if you said something fast enough, you could totally fool someone? People who claim to have psychic abilities are probably lying. The reason we know they're lying is because there are tricks and techniques they use to give you the impression that they're able to read minds and know things that only you know. For example, the so-called shotgun statements are a key weapon in a fake psychic's arsenal. Shotgun statements are where a person will literally talk like a shotgun, firing out names and titles until they land with someone who's watching. Chances are, if you talk about the ghost of someone's mother and use a name that's commonplace in society, I'm hearing something from a Mary, I gotta marry someone, you'll fool someone who lost their mother with that same generic name. It's the law of averages more than the power of the mind in this case. Now, number 1 on our list is also number 4? There's a famous song with the lyric that 3 is the magic number. Well, I'm here to tell you that song is lying. It's actually 4 that's magic, as our next trick will show you. There's a sum that will always result in the number 4. Don't believe me? Well, check out the steps to this calculation and be amazed. First, think of a number. Multiply that by 3, which, as I said, is most definitely not the magic number. Then add 12. Divide that by 3, and then you need to think back to the original number you came up with. All right, take that away from what you had, and you'll be left with 4. With this formula, you will constantly land on 4. It's cool, isn't it? So why not go and try it on your friends? But before you do, I have one more thing to ask you, which that question is coming up in just a second. Now, I hope our video didn't boggle your mind too much. This list showed you more tricks than a magician after several cups of coffee. Now, that question I was talking about for you is on mirages. These are arguably the most famous illusions in the world, but what causes the Fata Morgana mirage, where distant objects at sea appear to float above the surface of the water? Is it caused by A, ice crystals, B, clouds, C, a genie, or D, air temperature? Let me know your answers in the comments below. I do love reading them. Tricks of the mind can really mess with your head. If you want more of that kind of thing, then you'll want to check out our next video, which focuses on hard-to-believe facts about lying. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, especially if you find yourself returning to our channel, and make sure to click that notification bell so you stay updated on all our future videos. Once again, thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you again next time. See ya.